Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome back to my channel. And today is February 1st, which means we all survived January. Woohoo! And it also means that I'm here to share my update towards my crafty goals for the month of January. And this is all part of the Crafty Goals with Amalia collaboration. And there is a group of us crafters who will all be linked in the description box below, so be sure to check them out. But we set some crafty goals at the beginning of the year, and then each month we are sharing our progress towards those goals just to kind of hold ourselves accountable. And the whole point of setting crafty goals, I started setting them several years ago because I found that I would only craft, I would tell myself I could craft when the house was clean or whatever was done. And I have, 2 kids and dogs, and it's never done. Like, the house is never clean, or once it is, it's like you have to start all over. So just crafting, I never made it a priority. And to me, crafting is therapy. It keeps me from getting cranky. Like, if I don't have that creative outlet, I get really cranky. And so once I realized that, I realized I needed to make it a little bit more of a priority in my life. So I just set a few basic goals just so that I could focus on crafting and not have to wait until everything was done. Like, I allowed myself some crafting time. And then it just kind of grew from there, and I got involved with Amalia's collaboration that she started last year, and sharing it with you guys and being accountable totally motivated me even more. So that's what this whole collaboration is all about. And like I said, there's a bunch of different crafters down below, like from all different crafty focuses, and we've all set goals. And just kind of get on my soapbox here for a second. When you are watching all of our goals and our progress, please don't measure yourself against our goals and progress. Everybody's in a different place in life, and I know I catch myself doing this too, especially when I see people. I'm like, oh my gosh, they got so much done. Or I have people participating in my Use It Up challenge, and they are just totally killing it, and I feel like I haven't done near as much. So I have to step back and remind myself, like, different places in life, different focuses, and we're all different people. We're all motivated differently. We all work differently. And don't measure yourself against someone else. Like, you measure yourself against you and your goals. And if you're progressing on your goals, then you're rocking it and good for you. Also, keep in mind, everybody tracks goals differently. Everybody sets goals differently. We're all motivated by different things. So as you go through the collaboration participants below, you'll notice some of us have very detailed tracking. Some of us have charts, like colorful charts. Some people just have a list of broad goals for the year. Some of us are motivated by data and check marks and lists. Some of us just kind of like to have a broad idea of what we want to do, and then the freedom to work towards that particular goal however they feel at the time. So it's a wide range of goals, a wide range of philosophies. And just keep that in mind, that again, just because you track your goals differently than mine doesn't mean that's good or bad. It's just we're different people. So, okay. Jumping back down off my soapbox. So if you would like to track goals along with us, if you want to set some goals, it's still early enough in the year, set some crafty goals for yourself and kind of track those along with us, you are welcome to. You don't have to share them with anybody, but if you do want to share them, you can use hashtag Crafty Goals with Amalia, which will also be listed in the description box below. And then if you do share your goals, we can find you through that hashtag and then show you some love, support, and encouragement as well, the way you love and support us. So, all right, so I set some goals at the beginning of the year, and I shared them at the beginning of the month, and I will link that video below and in the cards as well. But kind of I have a couple focuses with my goals this year. 2020 I have deemed as the year of using things up, both craft related and non-craft related, kind of throughout the rest of my house. But so one of my focuses is really using things up in my stash. Another one is organization of like my stash and my daughter's stashes. And then the third one is to kind of work on getting caught up on my personal scrapbooking. So, and then I have a couple business goals as well. So those are kind of the three themes of all of my goals this year. And then I have my goals broken down. I have monthly crafty goals. I have some yearly crafty goals, which means I'm not going to accomplish them necessarily in 1 month, but hopefully, I can keep working at that so that by the end of the year, I have accomplished it. And then I have a couple of business crafty goals that are monthly. And then I'm adding on one personal goal, monthly goal, which will be craft related sometimes, but not all the time. But I'm really struggling in that area and want to be able to hold myself accountable. Okay, let's dive into my goals and progress for January. So my first goal is to use up, and it's a monthly goal, is to use up at least one paper pad or collection each month. And I have been working on 2 this month. I have not completed either one, but I have made really good progress. So I've been working on this Scrapping for Less Winter in Pink pad, and that is part of their Winter Fairies collection bundle. And I've been working on this one as part of the Smash That Small paper pad collab with Deb from Deb Houck's Crafty Cottage. And again, I'm about halfway through this one, I think. So as soon as I finish this one in February, which will hopefully be the first half of February, I can start a new one and then, can keep working from there. The second one that I've been working on is my Love and Devotions 12 by 12 pad by Recollections. And this is part of my normal monthly pad project. So again, I'm almost done with this one. And I actually need to finish it this week because I'm down to making Valentine's cards with it. And my main goal for this pad was to have Valentine cards that I could donate to my father's nursing home. And I'm actually going down at the end of this week to visit him, and I won't be back again before Valentine's Day. So I need to take the cards down with me at the end of this week, otherwise I have to mail them, and I don't want to have to pay to mail them since I'm going to be there this week. So I have to have my Valentine cards finished this week, which means this pad will be finished this week. So I don't have any check marks for January, but hopefully for February I will have some check marks for this column. So my second monthly goal is to use up at least one pack, bag, grouping, whatever, of embellishments. And this one is kind of where my Use It Up, this is the focus right now of my Use It Up 2020 challenge. And at the beginning of January, I shared 3 different packages of embellishments that I wanted to use up this month, and I did. One was some printed die cuts by P Ink, and they were like love related. This was a full pack of Sandylion Essentials love, like dimensional love tags. Use those. And this was just a random bag this was just a bag full of random Valentine's or heart or love theme embellishments, and I did empty that as well. So those were the 3 that I chose at the beginning of the month and used. And the other thing I kind of want to do with my collabs and my challenges is to be intentional about what I'm using up. Kind of focus on not just using things up, but kind of focus on what I'm making or what I'm doing with those or why I want to use those up. And a lot of my goals are going to be kind of interwoven with each other. And I'll kind of explain that a little bit more as I go. But just to finish off this goal number 2 of the embellishments, I also didn't plan for this one, but finished off this pack of, they were 3D paper sunflowers, and they were adhesive, but I took the like glue dot off of them and used them a different way. But I didn't plan for this, but this is something that I use for one of the blocks that we sell, and I had a bunch of orders for these, and so I was able to finish off this pack, which is good. So there were 4 packs of embellishments used up this month. And to kind of go along with that, I had 3 sticker sheets that I chose at the beginning of the month to use for Deb Houck's stickier side of crafting collab. And I treated these separately from the embellishments I used for the Use It Up 2020 challenge, just because I wanted to kind of make myself use up more. So I chose, these were two of the same sticker sheet. They were P Etc. Love labels, and they were pink and red. And then this is another Pebbles Ink love label sheet that was black and white. And I did use all of these up as well. So another one of my monthly goals is to complete 5 personal scrapbook pages. And this month I completed 10. And when I talked about some of my goals being kind of interwoven with each other, when I made my scrapbook pages, on some of them I used the label stickers, I used some of my embellishments, and I used my Love and Devotion pad. So that right there helped me work towards 4 goals at one time. And then just that way I'm not like, I don't know, I just feel it's a more efficient use of my time. So I'm using things up, but I'm not necessarily making all separate projects with everything that I'm using up, if that makes any sense. So that's why I felt comfortable with this long list of goals that I had when I set these up earlier this year, just because they all kind of work together well. They're not exclusive of each other, they're inclusive. So that just helps me use up more and get more done. The next goal was to make at least 10 Christmas cards each month, and that is for the 10 on the 10th card collab with Kim at Metal Scrap and Chick. And this month I only made 8, and that was because I chose a couple of coordinating like loose papers from my Christmas paper stash and was just trying to focus on using those up, and was also following one of Call Me Crafty Al's sheet load sketches. And with the paper I had, it only made 8, and so I just kind of called it good there because I was also running out of time for the collaboration deadline. And I figure I only made 8 this month, but I'm sure there's going to be other months where I'm making more than 8, so I'm going to average to 10. I'm going to give myself a little leeway there and at least average 10 per month. And then one of my next monthly goals is to clean my craft studio at least once each month. And I gave myself a check mark, but it really should only be like 3/4 of a check mark. Once I'm done with a project, I always try to at least clean my crafting space, like the space that I'm actually working on. I try to clean that up after each project, just to kind of like put all that stuff away, and that way I can just focus on the new stuff that's on my desk. There are times, especially like in the fall and winter, when I'm just going from project to project or working on multiple things at one time, where that doesn't happen, and it's just like, I don't know, the craft store just threw up all over my desk. Like there's literally all kinds of stuff on my desk at one time, and I'm working on top of different things. And I just want to try and get better about, keeping other space clear so that if I do have multiple projects, I can maybe move one out of the way more. It's just, I get to the point, especially at, by the end of this year, I had so many projects, like there was no place to put anything without it getting lost. And I've discovered that the chaos in my room causes chaos and anxiety in my brain, which then affects my focus, my productivity, and my creativity. And so I really need to focus on that more. And so I wanted to hold myself accountable for trying to clean my whole studio at least once a month so that I can start fresh and make some more messes, right? So the next monthly goal is to use one upcycle item from my stash, and I didn't do that this month just because none of it really worked well with, the other stuff I was working on. Remember, I talked about the interwoven goals. And so this isn't like a priority goal for me. It's just something that I want to keep in my mind and keep in front of myself to work on this year. So that was my monthly goals. And now I'm going to kind of transition into my yearly goals. And the first one of that is to figure out how to organize my daughter's crafting supplies. I have two daughters and they both love to craft, but they both work differently. Ellie, my 9-year-old, she does very focused crafts. So she loves to make cards and bookmarks. And so she looks for specific paper or embellishments or, ribbons and stuff for that craft that she's working on. So I need to figure out how to store her papers and embellishments so that it works for her style. Now, my youngest, my 7-year-old, loves to craft also, but she's more of a whimsical crafter. She doesn't necessarily have an idea in mind. Like, she just likes to cut and glue paper, like to make collage projects, or she just wants a piece of pretty paper to use for her, the menu for her donut stand that she has in her playroom, but she doesn't necessarily care what it is. She just wants it to be pretty. Maybe she has a color in mind, maybe she doesn't. So her storage doesn't need to be as specific as Ellie's. So I kind of spent this month watching them craft, paying more attention to how they craft, how they use their supplies. And that's kind of helped me, like, okay, at least now I know I need to store their papers and embellishments differently. I have no idea how I'm doing that yet. There are some supplies, like we have a drawer of adhesives that can stay as is. We have a drawer of stamps and ink that can stay as is. I just need to figure out the other stuff. And then another year-long goal is by the end of this year, I want to finish scrapbooking all of my 2012 and 2013 pictures. And so I have tick marks here. It's kind of interwoven, but also kind of separate from my monthly goal of doing at least 5 personal scrapbook pages. So this month, all 10 of my scrapbook pages were using 2013 photos. So I was able to also add 10 tick marks down here. Sometimes this number may be more because they're not all, they may be from current year or a more current year. This is just, making me focus on using up or trying to focus on those 2013 photos instead of like a newer year. And then my last yearly goal is to come up with ways to make kits out of my stash for various reasons. I would like to make some card and mini scrapbook album kits that I can sell at our craft shows, just so I can use up my stash faster without me having to actually like make a product, but still get some of that revenue back into our business. And then I would also like to maybe make some kits for my daughters to use, or make some kits that I can donate to my dad's nursing home for like a card making activity. So I have various reasons that I want to make the kits for. And so I just want to kind of, as I'm going through my paper right now, I'm trying to think about that, just trying to come up with maybe a method that I can use to help build those. And then I have 2 kind of business crafty goals, and the first one is to make at least 10 blocks or block sets each week. And our business, we sell, like, one of our main products is like decorative blocks, like letter blocks. Or sometimes just any kind of blocks, wooden blocks, and I decorate them with paper. It's a business my husband and I have together, and we have an Etsy store, so there are orders that are coming in, hopefully consistently. And then we also do craft shows, and so especially winter, fall, we have a lot of craft shows and need a lot of inventory. So I wanted to be able to track this so I can keep myself working more throughout the year to prevent like that last crunch of trying to build up inventory right before our fall shows start. So I want to average 10 a week. And so far in January, I did 10 the first week, then I did 21, then I did 5, and then I did 9. So that's 45 total for the month. So that's at least 10 a week. So I'm pretty good with that. And that was a combination of orders and just, inventory. And sometimes that may include sets for myself as well. And then the last business goal I have is related to my YouTube channel. I want to average at least 3 videos posted to my channel each week. Sometimes it may be way more than that, depending on the collaboration dates, you know, of the collaborations I'm participating in. And sometimes it may be less because nothing else falls in that week, or maybe I have something going on. So, but I want to average at least 3 per week. So I mentioned a personal goal at one point too, and I won't focus a whole lot on this. I just want to explain it this month, and then, you know, I can just kind of show you the progress going forward. But one of my personal goals is to pick one area each week in my house to clean out, organize, purge, whatever. And I started really strong with this last year, and then after February just totally fell off the wagon. And so I wanted to get better at it this year, and I realized I'm having a really slow start. And so I thought, if I share it with you all, know that I'm accountable to reporting it to you, that maybe that will motivate me more. And so when I was looking back at this, because I was like, I've only done one area in our house for the whole month of January, and that was like one drawer. But I actually did 2 areas in my dad's apartment. I mentioned he's in a nursing home, and we're not sure if he's going to be coming back to his apartment. And if he does, then it won't be like he will be with a walker, or my dad is a pack rat hoarder, basically. And so we need to go, my sisters and I have been going through and, you know, trying to at least make more space or things better accessible to him, so that if he does come back to his apartment with a walker, then he can get to things better. So I have done 2 areas at my dad's house, and so I counted those because, you know, I was purging, so that may be a stretch, but I have done one area in my house. I started going through all of my loose paper drawers and just trying to sort through them, kind of reorganize them, pull out what I know I can use for some of my collaboration or challenge projects or pad projects, but then also things that I can use for other projects, or maybe things that I know I'm never going to use, which for me isn't a whole lot, because I always figure there's a way I can use just about everything, or some things that I know my daughters might appreciate more than me, so at least they can use them. But so anyway, I'm not going to focus on this a whole lot going forward. I just wanted to explain it there, what my kind of purpose was of including this. Like I said, there may be times, like yesterday when I went through my first craft or my paper drawer, like there are times where it may be related to my craft room or our business, so it can be crafty related, but then it may be my junk drawer in my kitchen or my pantry. So I won't talk a whole lot about it, but again, I did wanted to include it so that hopefully you guys can motivate me to be better about that. So back to my goal tracking, I decided to add an extra piece to this. I am very analytical. I'm data driven. I need data and information to understand things. I need data and information to be able to make a decision. I'm very visual and tactile. Like, I need to see and touch things in order to really grasp like what they are or what they mean, or just to understand them. And so like I have to write things out in order for them to stay in my brain and for me to retain them. And again, my visual cue to really understand or grasp, you know, what I've done. So I added this. This is just a pink striped piece of paper from my stash, and I just glued it on the back of my goal tracking form that I keep in my planner, and created a little chart here. I was able to fit January through September on the top part, and then October through December down here on the bottom. And then I have a totals column for the end of the year. And then I have a list of a few things that I know I wanted to track the total number of for each month. And then I did leave a little bit of space, so if I want to add something else later on in the year. But I decided, kind of what started this is that I wanted to track the cards I've made each month versus the cards that are sent out. I make a lot of cards each month or each year, and I do send, like I do donate cards, but I am horrible about sending them. Like I tend to like build them up and then send 2 boxes to Charlie at Cards for Soldiers at once, just because I have so many. So I want to get better about sending them more frequently, so I'm not sending so much at one time for her to deal with. And also, like there's other cards that I've made for other organizations that I haven't sent out yet. I need to do that. And I want to get better. Like a lot of the participants in this collaboration, you'll see where people are trying to get better at sending mail, sending cards out to family and friends. I am a maker of cards, yet I'm horrible about remembering to send cards for people's birthdays. So I didn't necessarily make it a goal, but I just wanted to track it so that I can kind of, again, hopefully it motivates me more to keep up with my card donations and some personal cards. So I made 67 cards this month, and then I have sent out 176. So 174 of those were to Cards for Soldiers. So it was Valentine's cards, St. Patrick's Day, Easter maybe, like the spring holiday cards. I sent those at the beginning of January, and those were cards that I had made like last year, but after the spring holidays. And so 174 of those were Cards for Soldiers. 2 of those were personal. I would like, to get a little bit better about that. And again, hopefully this will keep me sending those cards to Cards for Soldiers, Cards for Hospitalized Kids, to the nursing home, like help me to get those cards out of my stash more frequently. Scrapbook pages made, that's just recording the number that, like writing down the physical number of the tick marks that I made on the front side. So there were 10 this month. Videos posted, this is, writing, I just went through my YouTube videos page, and I posted 20 videos in the month of January, so that does average out to at least 3 per week. And then the last one, again, just writing down the total number of blocks sets that I've created each month of 45. And that just, I think, will help me, again, motivate me to be more consistent about creating them throughout the year, so that when I get to fall, we're ready for our craft shows. So that is my goal progress for January. Looking forward to February. Like I said, I want to finish off both of these pads and pick a new 12 by 12 pad, as well as another smaller pad to work on later in February. And I will share those once I try not to pick my next pad out too much before I'm done with these, because then I tend to lose focus on the pads I'm working on, because I start to look forward to the new one. So I tend to wait until I am just about done or totally done before I, move on or pick a next one, so that I can kind of keep my focus. So my focus right now is just to finish these in the first half of February so that I can do something new. Tomorrow I plan to sit down and pick out my stickers for the stickier side of crafting, Collab, and my embellishments for my Use It Up 2020 challenge. I plan to kind of pick those out so I can plan those projects out for this month. And I'm also continuing to work on cleaning out my craft drawers, my paper drawers right now. So I think that will help me kind of get some of the projects planned for this month and for the rest of the year. So that's kind of where I'm going towards for February. And one of the suggested topics for this month's goal update was leap, because it's leap year. And to me, sometimes setting goals is a leap of faith. There are a lot of people who are afraid to set goals, and this was myself included at one point. We're afraid to set goals because we don't want to fail at them. Well, what I used to do was I would have an idea of goals in my head, or I would set goals in my head but never write them down, because if I wrote them down, that made them official. And then if I didn't do them, then I had failed. Well, what happened was, because I didn't write them down to put them in front of me and remind myself of them, I didn't accomplish them and ended up failing anyway. So to me, that's like where the leap of faith comes in, is sometimes you have to just make that leap, write them down, even if they're really small, achievable goals, build up the confidence, and you can go from there. And that's kind of how I started. And yeah, and it's been wonderful ever since. So I'm so glad I started setting goals, and then I'm so glad that Amalia started this collaboration last year. And again, if you want to follow along, please do so. And if you want to share, use the hashtag Crafty Goals with Amalia. And then keep in mind, jump back on the soapbox for a second here. Do not measure yourself against anyone else, their progress or their goals. You are you. You are awesome. You are amazing. And that's what you need to focus on. So, yeah, let me know. I love to hear about any goals or progress that you guys have made each month. I love to hear that, because that way I can at least kind of hopefully give back some of the love and support that you guys have given me over this past year on this collaboration. I thank you guys so much for all the support and encouragement. It's really helped me, and just following along with me has helped me stay accountable and motivated. So thank you for that. But I thank you guys so much for your time today. Remember, you are amazing as you are. Don't measure yourself. And I hope you're having a crafty month.